Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing great. Happy Saturday and welcome to our session of Meet the Global Leader, which is organized by School of Entrepreneurship Development. It's a non-profit organization based in Bangladesh. So we organize a lot of webinars, seminars, sharing, like that, how to develop skills so that our audience who are actually students currently studying at universities can get ideas about how to develop skills, how to implement those skills, stuff like that. So this webinar, we try to share the professional journey of professionals around the world. So today we have invited Miss Karmen Došen. If I introduce her very shortly, so she brings a wealth of experience to our discussion today with a background in journalism. She has a keen eye for crafting compelling content and a strong understanding of current affairs, particularly those related to human rights. Our expertise extends to the digital realm as well, with proven skills in SEO, copywriting, and social media marketing. This unique blend of skills allows Carmen to not only write impactful pieces but also ensure they reach the widest possible audience. She works as a journalist for Index.hr, a leading Croatian news outlet. She also leverages her SEO expertise as a copywriter for FI project. Throughout her career, Carmen has made significant contributions to various publications, including Kezona and Women Adria. Her work with Women Adria focused on empowering women in business, while her contributions to Kezona showcased her dedication to human rights issues. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Carmen Došen. I'm confident our insights will be invaluable to our discussion today, and our audience is going are going to learn a lot of insights from her professional experiences. So, Carmen, welcome to our session.
Thank you. Thank you for having me first, and thank you for this lovely introduction. I never consider myself a person with a ton of experience, but the truth is, I am. It's easy to underestimate the experience we do have, especially as young people. So
Yeah,
it's
great.
always
So,
good to
yeah,
have someone else point it out. Sorry.
no, totally all right. Great. Yeah, that's true. But everyone's professional or their journey is different, and there's a lot of things to learn from their journey. So like we shared the stories. So like those insights and information help our audience who are currently studying at the universities to equip themselves with those information and use those to develop their career roadmap. So, can you share about you and I mean, how was your student life? What did you do apart from your study and some interesting facts, maybe about your country
Mhm.
as well?
Okay, yeah. So I studied sociology at the University of Zagreb, which is also where I'm from. And that's important to notice because most people strive to stay, at least in Croatia, they strive to stay in the city they're from to study because it makes it so much easier time wise. Uh, anyway, I think it's the largest department of sociology in Croatia, which some think it's a bad thing because we don't hire a lot of sociologists. A lot of professors like to point it out. So I think that's an interesting fun fact on the atmosphere there. Not a bad thing, of course. It's a casual atmosphere there. And I think for this exact reason, it helped us all learn a lot about not only sociology, but also what we wanted to do. A lot of professors did their best to point out things we could do without degree and also things we couldn't do because there was always some sort of misconceptions like sociologists can work as therapists in psychiatrical offices, which is a huge misconception and it needed to be cleared out. But they also pointed out a lot of our uh, alumni work in media, a lot of them worked in marketing, things like that. And those are actually the things I ended up interested in most. So these were the classes I took, media, technology, and anything related to that field. And of course, human rights. A lot of sociologists do focus on human rights. That's why we're here anyway. And it's not about another misconception. It's not about whether you are liberal or not. People often think sociologists will be liberal. I mean, okay, I may be, but I studied with a lot of them who weren't, and that's not even the point. That's not the point at all. Uh, so what we also did during the university, we had forums, Facebook groups to connect with older students and former students to see what they were doing. A lot of them were sharing their experiences in research. A lot of them work in research institutes, be it just statistics or wider scope of research. A lot of them ended up in marketing, HR, and of course journalism. So sharing experiences of former students of anything really, I think, is very, very important. And of course, some of them ended up in politics. So we even have some students who work in Brussels. Anyway, it's whatever you're studying. That's one important thing I want all students to know. Whatever you're studying, it's not so narrow. What you can do with it is not narrow. There's a much larger scope of professions you can take on than you may think. We all do different things, and it's wonderful.
That's true. And if before starting your professional career, so what are the or what were the key skills that you developed during your student life, that actually helped you during the like when you first started your professional career? So how, if you can share some key skills from
Mhm.
that you developed during your student life, and then before during the journey of your professional career, how did those skills help you to start your career?
Okay, so I was always very shy and nervous, and public speaking was just a nightmare for me. Every mistake I would make would be like the end of the world, and I already felt bad having to speak in front of people. But in nearly every class we had to do a seminar in which we would publicly speak for 20 to 30 minutes. And I remember when I just started, I couldn't lift my eyes off the paper of my notes. I was scared, and if I made a mistake while talking, that's it. That's the end. Awful. It was a nightmare for me. And then, and I wasn't the only one, I might add. And then, as it kept happening, as we had to keep doing it to pass the class, myself and my friends of similar shyness, we developed people skills. I didn't even notice it at first that it was going on, but looking back, when I started my master's degree, for example, I was already a fantastic speaker. And then I looked back on when I started and I realized, oh my God, I went that far from someone who could barely speak to someone who had no problem speaking in front of 50 or 100 people, for someone who knew their notes, for someone who didn't have an issue with making a mistake, of course. And that's something I notice people are generally afraid of. Don't make a mistake. Yeah, you will make a mistake. It's normal. And quite frankly, nobody cares. If anything, it makes you more human. So that's good. And I think that is the most important skill I got. So speaking, just speaking. And then when I started my professional journey, first, okay, it was an administrative work, not a lot of speaking to people. But then I entered customer care. It wasn't easy, and quite frankly, not the type of job I would ever consider myself good at. But turns out I was actually good at it because I knew how to speak clearly, and somehow I managed to find the right words for the right people and for the right situation. So it
So how
surprised
to
me.
speak? Did you mean how to speak clearly?
Yeah, how to speak clearly to people in specific
Mm-hmm.
situations.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so in customer care, people are, well, we all know how it works. People have a problem and they talk to an agent to solve their problem. So the way in which you say something can mean the world to those people who maybe lost a bunch of money because of a mistake they made, or maybe your company you work at made. And that's when I realized it's the forcing of public speaking during university. That's what helped in customer care, in one-on-one conversation over the phone. And later, of course, it helped me present myself when I moved on to marketing. So generally, social skills, they are so underrated, especially if you're generally a shy person. Like I used to be, I still am in a way, but honestly, when you mentioned most important skill, that was the first one that came to mind. It changed my life, honestly.
Definitely. So, how was your internship experience? And like sometimes, especially in our country, students take internship. Some students don't take internship seriously. So, what do you think, based on your experience as an intern, how it is important for students, the experience of a good internship, and like dedicate their time and like effort during their
Mhm.
internship, and how internship can help them like advance in their professional career.
It all depends when or where you are as an intern. So some people I know didn't have good experiences. Some people had fantastic experiences. I would like to say mine was pretty good because when I got there, my boss, so to say, I mean, you don't exactly have a boss. You have a mentor, and mentors. But the boss of my mentor, let's put it that way, she was fantastic, and she really wanted anyone who came there to learn what they were good at. And it was my first real job, first one that I wasn't volunteering or anything like that. First time when I had to work 8 to 4 every day, Monday to Friday. And she really did her best to find out what I'm good at, what I enjoy doing, what I can do, etc. And I'm really glad I sat in an office with her because she's the one who realized I was really good at writing. Of course, I had to do some administrative work, some math, things like that generally. But she was the one who made me realize that I would, in fact, be a good copywriter. It took like a year after that for me to get into copywriting. But thanks to her, who allowed me to do brochures when she realized I can put things into words nicely. Thanks to her, I realized that that's where I should that's what I should strive for. I again, thanks to her, really, really, I'm really grateful to that woman. I wrote brochures, I wrote some speeches, I did some translations, all because she saw it in me, because she saw that's what I can do. So generally, as an intern, you will be paid very little or not at all. And I think that's why it's important to learn as much as you can, because if you don't learn anything during that time, you're not going to move forward. It's the ugly truth, but that's what it is. So internships are ugly, generally speaking. Again, like I said, low paying, not paid at all, depending on the country, of course. In Croatia, it's paid. In some countries, I know it's not. I think in US it's not. But learn, just learn, just find someone, even if they're not directly your mentor, just find someone who will help you figure out what you're good at, because whatever the company is, they always have a ton of things to do. There's always a ton of things to do. My job, my internship job, wasn't supposed to be about writing, and yet I had someone
Yeah,
who realized I was good at it and decided to give me that job. It's a best way to put your foot in the door, just like that. It's not pleasant, but it's necessary. It's necessary.
definitely. It's like a like a training ground. Like to know how the business operates. Like how different department functions in different ways, skills necessary. So this is like the takeaways are important, because like there's so many things to learn. It's an opportunity to like goes to a company and work and have the access to learn. So, like in your work, like in your experience, which social media platforms are most effective for human rights campaigns, lifestyle content, and tech news?
Hmm. First ones that come to mind are definitely Instagram and LinkedIn, especially for human rights and tech news. So recently, just I think it was a week ago, in Croatia we had a digital campaign, and it was going on Instagram. So people were encouraged to sign a petition and share the info on the petition in their stories, which they did. And it worked. It really worked. And within hours, those NGOs that started it, they reached their goal. And all it took from users was a few seconds. They only had to share it in their stories, just a few seconds. So definitely, Instagram, I think, is a fantastic tool. People often view it as just image sharing, but it can be incredibly informative. It's fantastic. LinkedIn, I think, is excellent for human rights and tech news, especially because people on LinkedIn often will search for new technological solutions to improve their work, to help them with their work. And the word on ChatGPT definitely spread very, very well through LinkedIn. That's how I learned about it, and that's how many people I know learned about it. So LinkedIn also fantastic, especially since you can add your entire comment on it. As for lifestyle, I'd say TikTok. It's easy to look down on TikTok because it's full of young people, teenagers. So I notice people often say it's for kids. No, it's absolutely not for kids. It's for anyone. It's packed with reviews of makeup products or cleaning products. And people really do their best to show you what they do. People do their best to promote, I don't know, a dress they liked, maybe. It doesn't matter if they're 15 or 50. It doesn't matter. They will still show you what people want. And if you're a journalist who does lifestyle content, you will definitely appreciate seeing all those, as they say, kids show what they found, what they discovered. So TikTok, absolutely a fantastic tool.
Great. So, how can how can journalists and SEO copywriters leverage digital media to amplify their work and reach a wider audience?
When you're a journalist, you will realize social media is crucial for communication. Another common misconception, since I already did start with that, is that journalists will primarily communicate via email or phone, which of course we do. But social media, people are always on social media, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, people are just always there. If you want a quick reply, go to social media. I never got the fastest replies than when I contacted people through Facebook Messenger or Instagram or anything like that. They will reply within minutes. If you send them an email, it will take some time because email also has some sort of formality to it, and people will think more how they will communicate something. That's another thing I noticed. The communication is, it will just look different. And when it comes to calling people on the phone, some people just won't answer if they see a number they don't recognize. So definitely, social media is huge for communication. And it's also how you reach a wider audience. So if you have to contact someone for an article, say you're writing a piece on something and you need an expert opinion, you contact the person who is an expert on the matter. Let's say it's a gamer. Let's say you're contacting a professional gamer. What will that gamer do? They will check out the article you wrote with their opinion in them. They will talk about it and they will share it. That's why it's important to contact people for their opinions in the first place. So when you're writing about any sort of issue, not only when you will you have an expert opinion, you will also reach more people because of that person. Anytime I do an interview, like recently I did an interview with a gamer, that's why it popped into mind. And what did she do once the interview was out? She shared it. And of course, it reached a wider audience than if I didn't share anything on social media. We exchanged info on that, and there you go. So basically, yeah, social media for communication and for sharing, especially if someone's in the article. It's priceless.
But you have written, like on diverse topics like human rights, women's entrepreneurship, and technology. So, how do you approach research and writing for such varied subjects?
Yeah. Uh, it seems like I'm all over the place, but not really, not necessarily. I mean, human rights, women's entrepreneurship, and technology are all connected in a way, maybe loosely, maybe strictly. So it's just a good mix of things I find interesting. Now, the thing is, writing about only one thing can sometimes get boring or overwhelming. You may feel like there's nothing to write about in, regarding that topic. So it's always good to write about something else from time to time. So, say you write 10 articles about technology, about new phones or tablets, and then everything everything you think about are phones and tablets. So let's move on to human rights a bit. And when it gets depressing, you move on to something else. So I think it's good to have a mix of at least two topics, at least, just for a little break.
Right. So, with the background in both journalism and SEO copywriting, so how do you find the balance between informative content and search engine optimization?
Uh, well, I can tell you it's not easy. It's basically a case of having your cake and eating it too. Sometimes optimizing a news article will be very, very difficult, if not impossible. But it will show up. People will see some news articles, short news articles, show up on the first page of Google. But that's because the media is huge, because the website exists for, say, over 10 years, has a strong authority, people read it. It's all about that, basically. But when you're writing something different, like an opinion piece or a research piece, then you can do a proper SEO. Then you can choose a keyword. Then you can do proper backlinks. Generally, whatever you're writing, you have to make sure the article is good. The article is informative, which means people will open it, read it, stay on it, even if it's 100 words, even if it's something short like that. People will stay on it, and that will help with your website ranking, of course. It will help your site authority for that reason. So next time on your news website, if you write a research piece or opinion piece, which you properly optimize with well-selected keywords, headlines, everything, that's something that will show up on the very wanted first page of Google and stay on it, because sometimes, again, sometimes some things are just not for optimization. They're not. But if you're still good at it, if people read it, if people click on it, if people stay on it, site authority grows, then you're good.
Great. So, as a journalist, sometimes there are challenges and Sometimes there are some sensitive topics. So in case of like when writing about sensitive topics like human rights or pornography, what ethical considerations do you prioritize?
Generally, privacy, first and foremost, privacy. That's something I learned while studying sociology because the first research I did, it was the one about ways women consume pornography, and what we had to do was guarantee everyone privacy. So people need to know their name, their maybe their age, depends, their profession, anything that could give away who they are that won't reach the public. So if you have a person whose name is Anna, no, she's not Anna. Change her name. Change her name to I don't know, Daria. There you go. Different name, completely different name is my point. So not even something similar, like change one letter of the name. That's something we were very strictly trained on. So when you're changing a name, it's not just a random name. Change their name, protect their identity, and that's how they will actually agree to speak with you, even if someone is open about a topic that you are researching. The thing is, social climate can be such it won't really be approved, and for this reason, you have to protect every single person you're speaking to.
Definitely.
If you're doing this as not a sociologist but a journalist, you'll do it a bit differently. You'll also, of course, protect their name, age, and everything, but you also have to blur their faces. You always have to blur the children's faces. And of course, be careful. If you are recording something, don't do it outside. Don't do it outside of their house. Don't do it anywhere where people may realize where they live, where they work, anything like that. So be indoors. And of course, that indoors has to be as discreet as possible. So privacy is really the most important thing we have to take care of. It was one thing you can't go on without it. You have to ensure that. Now, when you finally ensure that, you have to remember you're speaking to a human being, despite the fact they are hiding, so to say, behind a fake name and face. You're speaking to a human being. You don't force people to do anything they don't want to, including answering your questions. So if I ask somebody something personal and they don't feel comfortable, they don't want to answer that question, or they want to end an interview, that's it. You do it. No questions asked. They don't need to explain anything, and that's something you have to make sure they know. That's usually given to people to sign in a written form, so you don't have to say anything. You don't have to keep going through the interview. You can give up if they change their mind and say, "Look, I really don't want things I said to be in your research or in your article." You have to respect that. That's happened to me a couple times. A person agreed to give me some information on the article I was writing. And then after it was published, she said, "You know what? I really don't feel comfortable. I'm really sorry." And I said, "No problem, remove it." You have to do that. And that's how you make people feel safe. And that's how they will give information to other people as well and you as well. That's how you keep them open minded, basically. Just privacy and respect.
Definitely. So, well, there comes also the big like challenges. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced as a journalist working on human rights issues?
Human rights is a very sensitive topic, definitely, and I don't only speak for myself here, but for others who work in the field as well. It's sometimes difficult with having it get to you. Sometimes it will get to you. Fates of people, not only regarding their personal experiences, I mean also experiences of people in entire countries. When you write about things like that, when you think about what people are going through, it can get to you. It can really, really get to you. Sometimes it will upset you. Sometimes you will actually end up crying while writing an article about something, but people need to know what's going on. So that's definitely, definitely the biggest challenge when it comes to it. A lot of us who decide to work in the field of human rights, we do it because we empathize with people. We empathize with people who face injustice, and sometimes, of course, it can get to you. You will feel bad. And a lot of us, my friends, some of my friends work in the field as well. And when we talked about it, we actually shared fears that it may happen to us because it happened to them and they didn't see it coming. So, same thing can happen to us. And it's just something you have to learn how to deal with. I don't know, maybe watch a comedy or something like that to take your mind
Yeah.
off things a bit. Play a fun video game or something like that. Sometimes it's just too much, and you have to learn to calm down and take a step back, which is not always easy. But taking your mind off it for a bit, talking to people who can relate to that, and of course, writing about something else, which is why I decided to write lifestyle with human rights, is because lifestyle is just chill. It's fun. So if I get too depressed about writing about wars, for example, I can just focus on makeup, and it helps.
True. Also, you have held various positions throughout your career. So,
Mhm.
from customer support to journalism. So, how did these experiences help shape your current work as a journalist and SEO copywriter?
Yeah, as I already mentioned, the fact that during internship my knack for writing was recognized definitely helped a lot. It definitely helped me shape what I wanted to do. In customer care, I ended up because I was unemployed, and I thought, you know what, why not? It's an income. It's not something I see myself doing, but why not? And honestly, it was okay. It was better than I expected it to be, and like I said, I got to use and strengthen social skills that I gained in the meantime. Uh, but another thing is working before I got to marketing and journalism. It helped me realize what I don't want to do. People are often focused, I notice, on what they do want to do without thinking about what they don't want to do. And I always knew I wanted to be some sort of writer, but I didn't know what sort of writer exactly. So that's when you have to just figure out what you don't want to write about. I realized, for example, while working for City of Zagreb and in customer care, I realized working closely with people just wasn't for me. Even though I people did say I was good at it, but I didn't feel that fulfilled, and it wasn't as fun. It just wasn't for me. So it was clear it was going to be some sort of a desk writing job. So I'm not going to be a journalist who will walk around and talk to people daily. Maybe monthly or something like that. That's not an issue. But primarily a desk writing job. So that's how I tried out copywriting. I saw a company was offering an SEO copywriting position. I thought it was interesting, so why not? And of course, in the meantime, I also started writing as a journalist for a nonprofit organization, which was a volunteer work, which I don't mind. And in fact, I have a soft spot for NGOs. Uh, but yeah, the jobs I wasn't good at also taught me some skills I still use. So, like I said, customer care, for example, taught me how to work under pressure. It wasn't easy, but it's a fantastic skill to have. Sometimes, no matter what you do, no matter how chill your job is, sometimes there will be pressure. Sometimes something will be urgent. Even if you write about lifestyle, sometimes you will have to, I don't know, someone drops a new fashion collection, write it right now because you have to be first. That's a sort of pressure. And I think customer care is the reason I don't really see it as a pressure. Because in customer care, people need help. Some are very angry, understandably so. And if it's up to you to calm them down, a desk job is not going to be that difficult. Like in journalism, we can't spread panic. we're supposed to inform. And this is one of the things I also learned during customer care, because when a customer is angry, what do you do? Do you spread panic? They said, "Oh, I'm not sure I can do this." No, you have to calm them down, inform them on what the situation is and what the possible solutions are. And that's what I just moved to journalism. Okay, what's useless to people? Okay, we're not gonna write that down. We're gonna write these useful things. So you always have to know what's too much and what needs to be said, what doesn't need to be said. So I think I know maybe while I'm speaking this, it doesn't really make sense, but it does in my head. It's generally everything you do, no matter what sort of jobs you do, they will always require a certain set of skills that can be transferred. Customer care, for example, offers a ton of transferable skills, a ton of them. And I know there's a saying going on the internet, like anyone should do customer service or customer care for a while in their life. That's true. That's absolutely true. It can be tough, but it's going to teach you a lot of things.
Definitely, it's true. And like how to deal with people, like how to deal with different things. Okay, keep calm and like continuously calm down other people with
Yes.
information. Like proper information is important. So
Yeah.
like
And, oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, no,
uh,
no, no, please.
you just reminded me. Yeah. Another thing that's very good about customer care and generally working with people is you will, no matter what job you have, you will encounter difficult people. And you have to know how to deal with that. You will also encounter them not in the workplace, but in real life. And for this reason, it's good to have those skills. It's good to know how to calm people down. It's a life skill.
Definitely. So like uh, for students, how do you see it? The importance of having mentor, um,
Mhm.
seek mentorship, so they can like get more information. So how do you see, like seeking mentorship or have a mentor to like to get some guidelines about professional sector? So how do you see it about mentorship?
Yeah, while I was studying, we did have a mentorship program. I thought it wasn't necessary at that time, which was so stupid of me. So basically, new students could get older students to be their mentor during the first semester. They would help them, get to know programs better, get to know how the university life works, get to learn things about classes, professors, etc. And I thought, I don't need it. It's better for people who came from another city. They will definitely find it more useful, to know what's where. And in a way, that's true. Definitely, some people need it more than the others. But on the other hand, mentors can offer you advice you can't find on the internet. They will offer personal advice. They will offer friendship, things like that. So that's why I think mentors are very important while you're studying. Now, but that's the early days. When you're an older student, I think it's important to learn from people who already started a professional life, which is something I feel like we all really missed. Because while we did have that, it was something we started on our own. It's not something like we would go to a seminar at university and then people will tell us, this is my career now after studying. No, it was because we just knew each other. That's how it happened. So I think having a mentor in any way is really very important. You will learn a lot from people who have more experience than you and who do what maybe you want to do. Basically, I think it's a great thing.
Great. Like for those interested in a career path similar to yours, what advice would you give on building a strong portfolio and developing the necessary skill set?
I would say if you don't have a lot of experience, you should volunteer at least for a bit. So I started my work with Vox Femina as a volunteer. So volunteering for them helped me a lot. It didn't take much time. It was maybe 2 hours per week. But I learned a lot. I learned how to write news articles. I learned how to write reports, short biographies, things like that. And my editor is fantastic. She's very helpful. She always gave me a ton of information what I did do right and what I didn't do right. I don't know if she realizes how helpful her little files with that info was, but it really was. And generally, I think NGOs are fantastic for this. They know you are giving them your time and effort for free, but for no money. So in turn, you will get a ton of knowledge for them, a ton of information. They may even help you get a paid job. And if you stick to them, who knows, they may become your employer or your client. I mean, Vox Femina, I started as a volunteer, but now I have a freelance contract with them as well. So that can be a fantastic opportunity. And you'll stay with people who knew you when you were, let's say, nobody. I hate that, but there we go. Nobody with no portfolio. They saw your growth. And I think there's something magical about it, something very wholesome.
Absolutely amazing. And like student life, it has been said that it's a golden time,
Mm.
and the best way we like students, they can utilize that time by like getting themselves involved with activities or associations where they can learn about organizations through work. It's like training ground. They can understand what like works or in which area they're passionate about. It is important. Without like part-time or volunteering activities, it is difficult to like get that experience. So for in during students life, the earlier they actually understand about different like functions, what career they want to choose, better they can like design their career, their passion as well. So Carmen, thank you so much. Like for your time and within this short time, your journey and insights from you actually is fantastic. And the objective is like to share how professionals are doing things, are thinking their career as a whole and the student life. So we try to create a connection. So it actually broaden the mindset of our audience, like in a different way. So thank you so much, like
Thank
for your
you.
time and insightful session, and the lessons that you have shared, advice that you have shared also for the students. It is really and definitely going to help them. So on behalf of School of Entrepreneurship Development, I would like to share our sincere gratitude and wish you very best of luck for your future endeavors.
Thank you, you too. It was really a wonderful experience, and you're a wonderful host. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen, and have a good day.
You too.
Bye.